Thanks, Jennifer, for writing to me and tracking me down after being gone from the city for a lot of years to invite me to participate in this anthology, and I want to thank James for picking my piece. I'm the third generation San Franciscan Italian. My grandfather was born right up the street here in 1899, so he was here during the 1906 quake. And I come from a family of Teamsters, ironworkers, longshoremen, and cops. And when I was 15, I ran away from home and I started licensed sex work at Condor right up the street here, and very rapidly descended down that path in the 1970s as so many young girls did. But I climbed out of it and I took myself through college with no high school education, and I now have a 10-year-old daughter who was up here in this neighborhood with me Saturday night when we arrived from Tucson, where I moved to 8 years ago. So that's who I am. And I'm to say my experience as Italian is more on the soprano side of the picture, and there's a lot of interesting stories that I've written down. And the only other disclaimer I want to make is that my piece is rated NC-17, which is why my daughter is not here with me tonight. And she still thinks that the C word is crap, but I am here to tell you that there are 2 C words in here that are not crap, and if they offend you, don't jump me. I was attacked one time when I read at Paradise Lounge physically by another Italian-American woman writer when I had used the Catholic Church in one of my pieces. Somebody actually had to pull her off of my body. And I'm 46 now. I want to be pushing people off my body. But really, you don't like the C word. And I think there's an MF word in there, too. That's it. Plug your ears or go browse the art section. Okay. All the disclaimers aside, my piece takes 16 minutes to read. I edited it down to 10 minutes. This is the abridged version, which means it's like pow, 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 and I'll try to read it fast, okay? Veal Scalzini. You want milk, baby? You get milk. Pat snaps his fingers and tells the waiter to bring me some milk. The waiter brings a glass of milk and a cocktail glass with a skinny red straw stuck inside. He puts the milk in front of me and tells me it will give me beautiful skin. I can see the milk in your skin. So beautiful, soft and white. The waiter leans right into my face and winks. Sure, my skin is soft. I'm 16 years old. 16-year-old girls usually have soft skin. It's 1978 and we're sitting at the big round table at Il Parada, an old family-style restaurant and bar located at the bottom of Potrero Hill. This isn't the Italian San Francisco that tourists know. Il Parada sits amongst warehouses and industrial businesses. The red martini glass blinking outside the bar is the only light on the street at night. My grandfather ate lunch at Il Parada when he was a Teamster. Il Parada caters to the guys who move merchandise around the city and the men who load and unload the ships, the trucks, and the freight trains. They make the biggest meatball sandwich in the city, my grandfather told me. He held out his huge hands about a foot apart. Like this, he said, the size of a shoebox. All the food at Il Parada is big food. Inside the restaurant, fake grape leaves and plastic grapes cover the walls and ceiling. Tall bottles of Chianti line the top of the lattice work. The backs of men hunker at the bar. They talk in whispers and cough. We're sitting at Pat's table. Pat is a 65-year-old Sicilian, and he holds force at the table. He's the boss, the big guy. Pat snaps his fingers, and the waiter brings milk. He snaps his fingers, and the waiter brings another glass of champagne. Stars shoot from his diamond-studded fingers. His body is solid as concrete. Under his handmade Italian suit, his skin is covered with scars from bullets and knives. Once Pat put my fingers on a crater carved deep into his chest. Feel this, he told me. There's a bullet wedged right next to my heart. It grew a muscle around it. If they took the bullet out, it would kill me. True story. It's all true. My grandfather's on the other side of the city eating my grandmother's red sauce and playing his accordion. He has no idea his teenage granddaughter is sitting at the big round table at Il Parada celebrating Vince's birthday. Vince is Pat's son. He wears his wife Chelsea on his arm like some kind of exotic collie. In fact, Chelsea looks a lot like a collie. Her hair explodes in giant tufts of red fur. Chelsea obviously watched way too many Anne Margaret movies. She wears her red mane like some kind of proof of her worth. Her body is buried in piles of white mink, and her eyelashes are the length of crayons. Everything about Chelsea is diamonds, gold, and money. She goes to Las Vegas, works the casinos, and rakes in thousands in cash. I am always stunned by Chelsea. Me, I'm a 16-year-old girl who's barely grown tits, and I am Pat's prized possession. I'm all decked out in a fox fur coat and a silk dress. My body is used to blue jeans and cotton shirts, and I feel ludicrously small inside these $1,000 clothes. The whole table must be wearing $250,000 in furs, diamonds, and designer clothes. We're like some kind of living wildlife museum with all these animal skins. The dresses and suits, Valentino, Anne Klein, Armani, are all stolen, fresh from the boosters. You see, this is a gathering of a mob family, the low end of the mafia that deals in stolen goods in the sex trade. And I'm right there in the middle of it. I am Pat's hottest product of the moment, because I am young and fresh. There is nothing old, tired tricks want more than new, young ass. I am that ass. When some old fucker rolls into town and wants his dick slapped or his ass whacked with a hairbrush or to be ridden like a horse, Pat sends me to the hotel. I am the girl. In other words, Pat is my pimp and I am his whore. And Pat makes sure my milk glass is full. The waiter brings giant platters of antipasti. I grab little rolled tubes of pink salami and gobble them down. I could live off salami. When I was a little girl, I would ride my bike to the deli every Saturday and buy 50 cents worth of salami with my allowance. They sliced it so thin you could see right through it. I would peel off a pink oval one slice at a time and hold it up to the light. I'd stare at the rosy flesh, the little white circles of fat, and slip the slice inside my mouth. Pat's wife, Lulu, sits on the other side of Pat. Even if I am Pat's current prized possession, Lulu will always be his #1 whore and his #1 love. She watches me devour the salami and wash it down with milk. Slow down, she laughs. You don't want to get sick before your dinner gets here. Dinner isn't going to get here for a while. Il Parata is an old family-style Italian restaurant. So before the main course comes, we have to eat our way through antipasti, minestrone, bread, and tortellini. When my main course does come, there is no doubt what it will be. Veal scallopini. I always order the veal scallopini because veal scallopini is the most special thing on the menu. I know this because veal scallopini was the most special thing we ate at home or at my grandmother's house. Veal is very expensive. You have to kill little baby cows to get the veal. A cow doesn't have anywhere near the meat you get from a big grown-up cow, and it takes a lot of baby cows to make a lot of veal. The baby cows have to be fed milk, my grandmother always said, or the meat is no good. If it's not milk-fed, then it's tough and stringy, like chewing on an old shoe. Then my grandmother would pick up a little metal hammer covered with sharp points. You have to pound the flesh gently, like this, she said as she pounded the pink meat with the hammer. If you pound the veal just right, it's so tender it will melt in your mouth. Every time my grandmother cooked veal, my grandfather asked if it was milk-fed. Is that milk-fed? He asked from his place at the table. My grandmother stopped what she was doing, lit a cigarette, and blew a stream of smoke into my grandfather's face. She shook her head and went back to pounding the veal. I sucked down the last of my milk before diving into the tortellini. Little round rings of pasta stuffed with cheese. Pat stabs a little pasta pillow with his fork and holds it up. See this, he says? You know it's a good tortellini if it looks like a cunt. You know it's a good cunt if it looks like a tortellini. C word.